Rideshare friends, my YouTube subscribers, the title of my video is 69 ways plus one to make money, right? What are all the jobs that you can do to make money, part-time, full-time? What are all the hustles, the side hustles? And by the way, the one that you see on that side over there, that's number 70, right? And that's a business plan that you can write in order to raise funds. I walk you through every step how you do that, how you raise money if you want to start your own business or limo company or buy cars that you lease out to Uber and Lyft drivers. I explain everything in great detail right at the video. So this is a long video that first walks you through literally 70 different ways how to make money, and then also goes into great length how to structure that business plan. Now, writing business plans, having done my master's in business, and then also writing several business plans to raise money for myself and friends. You can charge people to do that, but what I started doing is I started taking a commission of the money that I raised for them. Did I raise $500,000 for them? Did I raise $2 million for them? I would take a commission, a percentage of that, which amounted to a lot of money. So it's a very, very lucrative 70th step. What prompted me to make this video is very simple. I was in a high-end area picking up clients, and I saw a teenager, a kid about 15, 16 years old, walking about 15 dogs. He had 15 leashes on his hand, right? And he walked into the property and picked up my client's dog. And I said to him, wow, that's very cool. What do you do? He goes, well, I do like an hour in the morning before school and an hour after I finish my homework. My parents said I can walk the dog. So word got out, and I now do like 15 dogs, right? So I wanted to ask him, hey, buddy, how much do you earn? But I didn't really want to make it too personal, threaten him, thinking that, oh, I'm going to do that. I asked my client, oh, by the way, I saw that this young kid picked up your dog and took him for a walk. How does he do it? What does he charge? So they told me he charged $5 in the morning to walk the dog for an hour and $5 in the afternoon. So they're paying $10 for this kid to walk their dog, right, to get some exercise. Okay, $10 multiplied by 15 dogs is $150, 2 hours of fun walking around with dogs. Maybe not entirely fun. Obviously, you have to scoop up the crap if they take a little crap here and there on the side of the road. That's probably part of the job. But he's earned himself $150 in 2 hours. Great. And that really reminded me of the many creative ways I, as a teenager, even from the age of 11, delivering newspapers before school, after school, and all the little ways that I made money. Started my own mobile disco, became a DJ in the 80s, and I let all of that information flow into these 69 ways, right? So let's not get into too much detail right now. Let's jump right in, and we'll start off with number one. So obviously the first one I'm going to share with you, if you don't have a job, you can get yourself a rideshare job, right? You have Uber or Lyft to choose from. What you do is you download the app. You either have your own car, you lease a car, right? And you drive for one or both platforms, and you start making money. The choices here in the rideshare business are endless. You could come in at entry level with an UberX or Lyft Regular. You could drive an Uber XL or Lyft XL with a minivan and climb the income ratings, the earnings that Uber and Lyft offer, right? You could even come in at the luxury level if you have a nice Mercedes or a BMW 750 and drive high-end clients, right? So it's a great way of making money part-time and full-time. And again, there might be the people that I just mentioned that are done with this job and want to transition to something else. And we are going to cover a lot of territory here. Think of it. We're going to be covering 69 ways of making money. I just mentioned number one. So let's talk about that first person, that kid that I was talking about, right? In this picture here, which I'm using as an example, this is exactly how he was doing it. This is a grown-up man. I counted the dogs. There's 17 of them. And this guy's making money, just like that kid was making money. So what stops you from creating little flyers and business cards, going into neighborhoods, right? And I would say they're more like high-end neighborhoods that'll pay for their dog to be walked. And you could go on websites like Rover or you could Google websites where you could list yourself as a dog walker or as a pet sitter. If you know any friends or so that are going out of the country, and say, hey, I'll take care of your pets, just pay me for a week, right? I'll feed them every day. So that to me is a very, very simple business to get going. That was my second way of making money. Let's look at number 3. So one of the best job combinations I can think of, right, is the combination of driving with Uber and Lyft in a higher category, and I'm talking XL, Select, Black, SUV, Lux, or Premier, in both categories, and combining that with a real estate license. Now, I did mine at Allied real estate schools in my private time, in my downtime. Actually did the courses while in the car, like waiting on the next passenger, right? So you can use your downtime to either further your knowledge, read newspapers, or why not do a real estate degree? And I have several success stories over the years where I have recommended this and shown drivers how to market themselves through their car, right? I have a great success story from a guy called Steven in Laguna Beach, California, who followed exactly this formula and made a lot of money. So if you want more details on my third suggestion here, right, a real estate license. Now, you might enjoy real estate so much, selling it and buying it or leasing it, that you forget about your rideshare business. You just focus entirely on this. Build out your social media, build out your website, and start marketing yourself into those neighborhoods that you know very well. But let me tell you, the combination of Uber and Lyft coupled with a real estate license is a moneymaker. And we move on to number 4. I am sure you've come across names such as Uber Eats, Grubhub, Postmates. They are all food delivery services, right, where you do not have to interact with humans. These are just people at residences or businesses ordering food, and you pick up the food in the restaurant and deliver it to the person, and hopefully you're left with a good tip. I've done a couple of such deliveries. It is not personally my style. I rather prefer to deal with real people, but there are many people that say, hey, this is fine, this works well for me, and make very, very good money. So if you want to look into this option, it's a great way of making money. Some people even do it with a bicycle or a motorbike or with an old car. You don't need newer vehicles for this type of business, right? So look into it. Also have codes beneath this video if you want to get started. And we move on to number 5. Maybe package deliveries is something for you. And if you look at the Amazon Flex program, they will keep you busy. This is a huge and proven company. I love it. I get Amazon packages ordered through Prime every day. They arrive at my house. I just absolutely appreciate the service. But there are several companies that offer package services. And a while back, Amazon even allowed you to invest $10,000 and bring your own vehicle, like a Sprinter or a small van, and set up your own business. So this is definitely something to look into. I've heard that people make up to $300,000 a year in this business, and maybe it's worth looking at and signing up for and trying out. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Now we move on to number 6. So the rideshare company Trip, which is getting a lot of good and a lot of bad press, you have to figure out for yourself if this works for you. But even though they're not active in any markets with their driver or passenger app, they do have a program that I looked at, which is called the Trip Influencer. People that recruit other influencers and drivers and get paid for it, right? So I think the main thing is here that you look into the licenses. I checked the licenses of a couple of states that were paid for. They were legit. And I wish that every company gets off the ground, right, and becomes successful. And in the past, I did, I was very vocal about this company because they had nothing. They had no website. They had no driver app. They had nothing. A few weeks ago, I did visit the company. I did look at everything that they had, and it looks like they're on track. But this is a toss-up, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to take a bit of a chance here, I think to join the Trip influencer program, I believe it's $149, right? And if you are a good recruiter and marketer, this may be a good way for you to bring in future drivers and passengers, or you can simply pass on the opportunity. And now we're going to move on to number 7. So my friends, on the topic of starting your own DJ party service, I could literally write a book on this, right? Because at the age of 14, after I delivered newspapers, I saved up enough money to buy my first Technique turntables, the mixers, the lights. But it's a business that you can build out. It's a word of mouth business where people refer you because you're good, and you've got to be fully invested. But this can become a very, very lucrative part-time gig, especially Fridays or Saturday nights. I was booked out each Friday or Saturday night, right? And today, you could use Spotify, you can shuffle songs and that, but people will really rely on your DJ skills and your knowledge of music. So whether you know the 80s music very, very well, that's when I was DJing, or whether you know the techno music or the hip hop or rap music, you got to know a couple of genres of music, and you got to be able to read your crowds just like you read the passengers that get into your rideshare car. A good DJ knows how to create the flow and keep the people engaged and going and on the floor, right? So it taught me so much, this business. And I remember going out being petrified because I took a lot of money back in the day and invested into the first gear, but I never looked back. In 1994, several years after I started, as a teenager, many years later, like probably almost 20 years later, my biggest event that I did was called Rave City in Cape Town on New Year's Eve, where I had 30,000 paying clients in a big warehouse down by the ocean in the shipping yard in Cape Town, if you know the city, at $65 a piece. Do the math. It was over $2 million in one night, less all your expenses. Obviously, that was the gross amount, but there's a lot of money to be made depending to what level you take this, right? But if you want to go in on entry level, I suggest getting yourself some good JBL speakers, a little sound system, and Apple computer so you can plug in your music and download directly into your DJ Pioneer mixer. Couple of good lights, chase lights, strobe lights, mirror balls, neon lights in the back. You can see this guy has quite an elaborate light setup. But if this is something that you might be passionate about, or you're really passionate about music, or you feel like there's a niche in your market, there's not enough services that are offering 80s parties, weddings parties, birthday parties as a DJ, call me up. I'll give you the entire inside scoop. So we have a lot of territory to cover here. We now move on to number 8. So you may own your house with your family. You may have a spare guest house. You may be living alone in your house. Your house is a commodity, and with the help of Airbnb and companies such as VRBO, you could list 1 or 2 rooms or multiple rooms on those websites and monetize those rooms, right? I helped an ex-girlfriend make a lot of money in the South Bay of Los Angeles by photographing the house, making a video, getting the pricing structure right. And by the way, right at the end, the 70th topic, I talk in length about how to create a business plan, right? And I give you as an example, incorporating or purchasing a house and turning it into an Airbnb model. So you might be interested in watching that all the way through, right? This is not to be confused with a roommate scenario. I'll cover that in the very, very next segment, right? But this is actually taking an existing house or holiday house and or a condo or a townhouse and monetizing it by renting out rooms to people, to tourists, to people that go to conventions, people that are flying into the city. It's a fantastic source of additional income. We move on to the next. So finding a roommate or advertising for a roommate is very easy. You could go onto Craigslist or roommates.com. There are many, many websites where you will get a lot of inquiries. The trick on this one is really finding the right one and interviewing them, sitting down with them, having a coffee with them, because remember, these people are going to share the space with you. So I've done this a couple of times when I was a student. If you have an apartment or 2 bedrooms or a studio and you divide it up or put a divider in your room, the only thing you always want to check in, if you have a lease with the landlord, that they will allow for a roommate, right? If you own the property outright, if you own the apartment and want to bring someone in and classify them as a roommate because they live there under the same roof, month after month, this is obviously not a VRBO or a vacation rental. This is a full-time rental where you have a total new body in your house, right, that uses your facilities, your swimming pool, your kitchen, etc. But it really might help you reduce that monthly payment to the bank, right, because you need extra income. And ladies and gentlemen, all I can say is interview and source the right roommate. He or she should be very easygoing and easy along to get with, right? You don't want to have any drama. It's a tough one, right? And usually the younger ones will put up with it. I don't take on any roommates. I don't have to. But back in the day, I can tell you, I definitely made a lot of good additional income by renting out to roommates. And I had a couple of sour apples along the way. But for the majority, my roommates were good. To find them was easy. I just placed an ad. So if that's something you would like to look into, by all means, go ahead and set a price and advertise it. We move on to the next one. So purchasing and selling domains used to be very, very hot because right in the beginning of the 90s and 80s, there was a lot available. Today, you'll have a lot of difficulties finding a good .com, but you can still trade. I'd watch videos on this if I was you, how to buy and sell domains. A lot of these new novelty domains that are coming out, .professional or .prof or .biz, there's still some good names left out. You can make a lot of money considering that you're buying these names for $9 to about $15. I made money here. I bought several domains. I had 4apartments.com, sold that one for $75,000. I had grab.com, which I bought early 90s, sold that for $125,000. And then my big scoop was buying a domain called handshake.com in an auction early 2000s and selling it in 2014 for several $100,000. So the return of investment is insane. The problem is it's hard to get your hand on good domains. Worthwhile looking into if you want to speculate, take a little bit of a risk, buy some good names, hopefully resell them because people need them or want them. Check it out. We move on to the next one. So have you ever thought of starting your own blog? You might have an area of expertise. It could be baking cakes, could be a mechanic on off-road cars, or specializing in natural cosmetics or natural health. Whatever the case may be, you can share your knowledge, articles, and then monetize it with products. There's a lot of money to be made, especially in the beauty and cosmetic industry. I myself have a natural cosmetic line that I make overseas in Italy, and we do a lot of blogs. Now, you might be a good writer and want to help people write the blogs. That's the other angle. But operating this as a business, as part of your overall social media marketing, blogging these days is a must. Now we move on to the next one. So if you want to become an auctioneer that can purchase at these dealer auctions, you'll obviously have to do your license and get your qualifications for that. It's a simple course. Or you do it the way I do. You buy through an auctioneer, right? Through a dealer auctioneer, a person that has that license. Now, let me put my little cap on here for branding purposes. Rideshare professor in the house. I swear upon this model to make money, right? Because what I often do is I get lots of drivers who need cars, and they turn to me and they see that I've bought a lot of cars through these dealer auctions, but I use a specific guy who takes a finder fee, and I have no problem paying him that finder fee of $500 because it's well worth it. You know, he has so much knowledge and has been in the game for so long that, you know, he gets onto this website. For example, it's called Mannheim, right? You can look it up and you can research the model car you're looking for, whether it's like in this case, a 2012 Mercedes-Benz, right? They will tell you the mileage, the condition, what the rating is of that seller, right? You have an option to jump into the bids. You have an option, as you can see top right, to buy the car outright. And here, my friends, you are researching wholesale prices, right? Because the dealers are buying these cars, and then it'll also show you the suggested retail price, and it'll show you the margins, right? Based on statistics. Now, you can jump into this auction and look at multiple outlets, you know, whether you're in California, Texas, Georgia. You can select your different auctions that are going on a particular day. You can see what's up for sale. You can see if you want to engage in the bids or if you just want to buy the car outright. If there's something specific you're looking for, like this car, for example, would qualify, the CLS 550 would qualify for the Luxe Edition and for the Select Edition and for the Black Edition, right? So if you were to go out there, you'd obviously try and get this car in black, right? This seller has a rating of 4.2. That's excellent. They do give you a CR, a condition report. You're usually looking for cars that have 3.5 or higher in their condition report. And they will show you a lot of information, a lot of photos. You know, even if there are tears in the seats or little scratches in the paint, you can open the image and check out every single little detail, right? So we got to move on to the next one. But if you have any questions about this, right, if you're looking to do your dealership auction license, if you want to work with someone and bring them buyers and collect a finder's fee, I'm telling you, you can make a lot of money. We move on to the next one. So mainly for the ladies out there, because just the ladies are the more trusted ones in this job, but babysitting, you could go out and get yourself a Word template, set up your own website, and then create your own business cards. And, you know, attach those to magazines or put them in your car, in your front seat and your back seat, and market those to your rideshare drivers, right, that have families. You get into conversations, yeah, I have kids, or by the way, I'm also a professional babysitter. Great money, and again, more of a job for the women out there. You know, get yourself a couple of well-paying clients, and you get to know their schedules or when they're out and when they need the kid to be picked up from school, or on the weekends if the parents want to go out partying. You there making money. Now we move on to the next one. A great part-time business or full-time business could be acquiring designer skills, taking Photoshop courses, maybe doing an online course through one of the many online companies. And once you have that skill set, the opportunities are endless, whether it's logos, photos, websites, sprucing up pictures. If you have a website and you can actually show your work. I remember when I started in the .com business in the 90s, I've always reached out to these people. I've always paid them. Never did I myself, you know, do the designs. I can do quick designs here and there, very simple stuff, flyers. But, you know, for the more sophisticated stuff or sophisticated ads, you hire people, right? But this is a great part-time gig. If you have a couple of hours in the evening, you've put your kids to bed, and you can go out and maybe knock out a couple of logos, a website, or illustrations for a client. Definitely people more with the creative brain, right? People that can sketch, draw, come up with concepts, ideas. This is definitely a great business for you. We move on to the next one. A super fun job, you know, where you can make, I'd say, anything from like $300 right up to $4,000 or $5,000 is mastering how to firstly fly a drone and then film with a drone. I bought a DJI Pro, I would say for about $2,500, and I've used it countless times. You'll see in my Rideshare Professor channel, I've used it for my business. I've used it for friends that were marketing their real estate. I mean, you get a lot of mileage out of a drone. The main thing is that you learn how to edit the footage, right? Capture the footage, learn how to fly the drone, like I said. Put up a website with your drone services, and then word gets out if you produce quality footage. And usually the quality footage you get from the drones that are $1,500 plus. Underneath that, you're not talking a commercial drone that you could sort of use as a business, right? But, you know, if you were to reach out to realtors and brokers and just concentrate like this here, filming properties from above, money, you know, if you were outside at wedding venues filming a whole different angle of the wedding from above, money, right? You got to build out a niche for yourself or multiple niches and market your material so they can see, hey, he filmed this, he did this. I use it extensively now with my new rideshare truck. I film the locations. It's beautiful when I fly the drone out over the ocean, pan around, film my rideshare truck, gets a lot of views. So if you want any questions answered with this, you can text me. My details are below. I myself have done a lot of footage. I've sold a lot of the footage as well. But I know some guys, like a good friend, Moses Choi, who, you know, he'll charge $500 to $3,000 for a production and he'll crank it out in a few hours. So money to be made. We now move on to the next one. So my friends, this is a topic that has been covered by many people, and more companies are emerging in the market that make this possible, right? You may have a second car or a car that you're not using, or you may want to get a new car for the rideshare business for Uber and Lyft, and you may want to rent out your vehicle that has 70 or 80 or 100,000 miles, right? So websites such as Fare, Turo, Hire Car, these are all websites where you can actually create an account, get a good idea what people are charging for cars of this nature in your city, in your state, you know, based on the age, what type of model. Is it a 2012 or a 2015? Is it an older car, 2005? So before you list the car, you want to make sure that you get great photos, that you understand that a certain permission goes to the company that is brokering the car for you, right? And then, you know, what do you want to rent it for? A day, for a week, for a month, and incentivize the renter with some attractive deals that they take it for you. Now, this can be fantastic extra income. This could even be, you know, a paid-off car where you're suddenly making a few $100 per month and you're applying that money to your new car. So check it out, do some more research on it if you have specific questions on this. I've met with most of these companies, so I know how they operate, and it's a great way to generate money, especially let's say you want to move from Uber X to Uber XL, or you're thinking of going into the Lux category and you maybe want to offload your Prius or whatever car you have and go for a better or newer one. Okay, we now move on to the next topic. Now, this is a business that's very easy to set up. And I think the key to your success being a notary public would be to have a branded car where you design the outside of your car with your website on it, and that you offer mobile notary public services. Listen, if you have a print shop or a little shop and you offer your notary services in there, or like these FedEx stations do, great. There's people coming to you. But I think even better is to offer a service where you go to them, they produce the documentation, you authenticate it. This is all about doing a notary public license, right? And then them swearing you in that you will stick and abide by the laws, right? Because you're basically authenticating documents. Not very complicated, but it requires a specific person, right? It's 100% honest job. Is it difficult to get going? Not really. I mean, I know a lady in Santa Monica who's a notary. She does very well, and then she started expanding and doing mobile notary services where she would drive out to the clients in Brentwood and Pacific Palisades. So I guess you could take it to any level you want to, but they do charge quite a bit of money, you know, for the documents that they authenticate, and worthwhile looking into as a part-time or full-time job. We move on to the next one. So if you look at these brands, they all have one thing in common. Yes, they are MLM, multi-level marketing companies. You will join at a fee. You have to be an excellent networker. You cannot be a shy individual. You've got to network with other people. I'm sure you've heard of Herbalife or Amway or some of the others, but you know, if you have a huge portfolio of business contacts, you're good at social media marketing, you love networking, then MLM is probably something for you. In fact, it's interesting that a rideshare company called Trip, T-R-Y-P, you know, they're still trying to establish themselves and get going. They haven't launched yet officially, but they formed an MLM, right? The way they want to conduct their marketing is through recruiting other people, influencers, etc. It's exactly how this business is run. You want to read all the books on networking. You want to watch all the videos of the great guys like Tony Robbins and all of those, how to sell and market yourself. That's the only way you're going to be successful in the MLM business. We move on to the next one. So the next one I'm mentioning here is obviously just geared towards a few. Being a part-time chef, if you have those skills, you can register with multiple event companies and they will hire chefs on demand. So let's say you're operating a certain shift in a restaurant, and then you also have your part-time gigs going. There are several sites where you can register as a part-time chef and make good money. We move on to the next one. So let's talk about photography. It's literally needed everywhere, right? Whether you're having a wedding, you'll need a photographer. If you're launching a website, you'll need some pro photos. So good photographers are hot in demand. If you have one of the modern phones, whether it's an iPhone or a Samsung, they take brilliant photos. And sometimes people, when you post these photos to social media or Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook, people say, wow, you take brilliant photos. At that point, you've got to ask yourself, hey, maybe you have a gift, the eye to take the right spot. And you might want to look in taking a photography course because there's good money in it. I know a great lady photographer up in North California. She charges anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 to film a wedding. She makes it in one day. So look into that if that is perhaps a passion. And again, this type of job is demanded in so many places. Now we move on to the next one. The job as a tutor, if you meet with kids after school, you help them with your math, you help them with their English, mainly school-related work. You teach them, whether it's algebra, whatever the case may be, you get paid for that, right? So people that make a great name for themselves as a tutor usually get referred by parents to another parent saying, hey, you know what, this tutor has really, really helped my kid, bump from a C in math up to an A. That speaks volumes. At that point, you're getting a lot of referrals, right? So this is a part-time gig, I guess, or weekend gig. If you have more of those teaching type of skills, maybe if you really enjoy children or, teaching adults something, a tutor can take on many, many meanings. You can also do online tutoring, right? From your very home, right? Where you're interacting with the person on the other side. So check this out if this is for you. We move on to the next one. So check out VIP Kid Teacher. If you have skills, teaching skills that kids can benefit from, host them there, and teach the kids. They are our future, right? So this is a fun way. If you enjoy kids, if you love being around them, love interacting with them, you can do it, teach in person or online. But a great hub is called the VIP Kid Teacher. Check it out. We move on to the next one. So Mark Weston wrote a great book called Starting a Virtual Assistant Business. huge these days, right? Especially for websites that can't operate around the clock at specific times after the staff or after the phones are not manned anymore. It goes over to a virtual assistant online, right? So this book, I highly, highly recommend it, How to Establish a Successful Virtual Assistant Career for Yourself, full-time or part-time. You know, you could be just doing this at nighttime hours, right? Depending, you know, which website in which country you're working for, right? So check this out. Definitely buy the book. Mark Weston, highly recommend it. I enjoyed it. And I now move on to the next one. Web designers will always remain hot in demand. The one cool thing is, you know, with companies like WordPress, with companies that offer thousands and thousands of web templates, you have a lot of pre-built web designs that you can choose from, right? When you then have that bare skin, you know, the page, the front page and all the sub pages, at that point it pays to get a web designer in and really start filling out the content, the pictures, the flow of the website. So web designers are hot in demand. I've used them since the early 90s, right? But sort of gone are the days of the classic webmaster, right? Now we talk more of web designers that will maybe do some periodic updates, or you can do the updates. You can add the blogs once the website's been designed and up and running. But you can save yourself a ton of money by simply buying, you know, a fully designed website template for $40 to maybe $80, right? That has all the functionality you need, all the plugins you need. And I highly, highly recommend that if you are starting a business and you want to save yourself a lot of money and learn a skill set, I would suggest learning how to build websites using these pre-existing templates, right? Google it. Tons of good websites out there that facilitate thousands of finished designs. And like I say, they will range anywhere from like $40 to $80 for good ones. Thank you. And we move on to the next one. So if you want to look into retail arbitrage, and you may ask yourself, what does that mean? First of all, that's basically, it means just buying retail products or products from companies that are offering big discounts from outlets or companies that are going out of business, and then you sell them online for big profits. There's a great book by Chris Green. Again, the title is up at the top, Retail Arbitrage. People make a lot of money, especially if you have a gift on sourcing, products that are discounted, heavily discounted, or going out of business. I remember a few people turning to me, and I probably bought $30,000-$40,000 worth of products for about $3,000-$4,000. I bought it, put it in my storage, had my guys resell it online, and made about 3 times the amount that I originally put in. I've done that a few times. Let me tell you, it's a lot of work, right? There's a lot of moving particles. You have to either get yourself a truck, ship everything. You have to maybe have a warehouse. You definitely storage space for this, because you don't just make money on once-off, two-offs. Now, if you buying a lot of sports shoes, for example, they're not really bulky, they're not very big, from a business that's going out of is closing down, and you maybe suddenly see yourself buying 100 or 200 pairs of Nikes. They're $100 shoes, and you're getting them for $15 to $20 each. You then turn around and sell them for half, $50. You've made yourself $30 on every box of shoes. So that's what retail arbitrage is all about. Exciting business, a lot of hustling involved, a lot of negotiating involved, and it's more like a cash business. People that sell you a bulk amount of products usually want the whole thing bought all in one, cash. So look into that, get this book, read up some articles, watch some videos. Great money to be made, especially if you have good online reselling skills, Craigslist, eBay, etc., etc., Facebook Marketplace, you name it. We move on to the next one. So the lady in the middle there is a wedding officiator, and those jobs are usually hot in demand on Saturday and Sundays when people have weddings, especially summers. Maybe a part-time way to make money. Yeah, if that's for you, I guess it's pretty simple. You do your license and then you read them the vows and you get paid, right? So, and the good ones really bring a lot of humor into it. So if you have a specific skill set beyond officiating and you can make it funny, make the crowd, the audience laugh. I've been to several weddings where, I was in stitches because they had super, super funny officiators. You make good money and you get booked over and over again. So got to be your job, not mine, but it's a job, right? Part-time, weekends, and we now move on to the next one. So in this job, you'll see more ladies, wedding planners. Can make a lot of money here. I know a lady in Scottsdale that is a wedding planner, and they make sure that they get paid by all the vendors they bring in, right? So let's say they have to bring in flowers. They have a budget for flowers. They make sure that they get a commission or a kickback from them. The people that do the food, the venues, booking a venue, right? I know she trades a lot of hotel nights with these, with the venues that facilitate the wedding, right? So, hey, I will bring you a group of 500 people, right? I want to earn a cut on the food and I want some credits, some hotel credits. So she does well. She makes anywhere from 3,000, I think, to about 10,000 as a wedding planner. But there's a lot of moving particles and it all has to run and flow seamlessly, right? Rain, my friends, definitely doesn't help wedding planners, but beautiful sunny days at the right venue where they had vineyards, outdoors, overlooking the ocean. This is a woman's biggest day, and usually you will find that they will turn to a female wedding planner where they can sit down and plan everything together. A great company to start off. I helped this lady in Scottsdale. Her name's Bernice. She does weddings at several venues and also does now weddings at several venues in California. Flies around, and her Saturdays and Sundays are always busy, and she's making top bucks, right? But set yourself up again, your website, form your company, do your social media marketing, and you have to have that skill set. You've got to be a good planner. If that's in you, and you like organizing, phoning, getting everything together, and meeting with clients, definitely give it a shot. We move on to the next one. So I think this is a fun job, especially for the ladies. And if you're health orientated, if you're fitness orientated, you can do a yoga instructor license. And I know, like in big cities like LA, there are yoga studios everywhere. Doesn't mean you have to open your own yoga studio. You could reach out to them and then give a specific class, whether it's Ashtanga yoga, whatever it is, right? Or they even have this hot yoga that they do at high temperatures. But you get a good hourly wage for doing that. You may even consider down the line opening up your own studio. And it's a popular trend, right? And it definitely helps. I've been to many, many yoga classes, mainly restorative yoga, right, on Sundays in Venice, and really enjoyed it. So look into this if you are health and fitness orientated. And I'd say it's more a job for the ladies. And get your website going, visit a studio, try it out, and definitely take one of the courses. We move on to the next one. So who would have ever thought that you could turn hair into a business? Now, I dated a girl back in Miami many years ago, and she made a lot of money by buying and selling hair, right? Why don't you just check out this website, Online Hair Fair? If you are a hairdresser, right, and you own your hairdressing salon or you work with other hairdressers, this might be something to look into, right? Because believe it or not, this is a commodity. There are a lot of people that don't have hair that need wigs. So buying the hair, creating wigs, selling the hair, These things are extremely, extremely expensive. It is a very, very niche market. I threw it in there because I couldn't believe that this lady traded in hair, this girl that I was dating. She's a pretty girl. And she was getting hair more from the 40, 50-year-olds and selling it mostly to the 60, 70-year-olds, right? So check into it if this is something you'd like to do. I just threw this in as a bizarre suggestion. Doesn't have to be you. We move on to the next one. So conducting online surveys for companies, you get paid per completed survey. You reach out to individuals and then, hand in the completed work. I mean, you could look at Question Pro, for example. It's got to be your, I wouldn't say passion, but it's got to be something that you like, right? Personally, not for me. Not really interested in what other people think about specific things, right? Everyone's opinionated, but some people know how to monetize this, right? And go out, talk to people, and get completed surveys in. And for that, companies pay and will pay you very, very well. So check it out. You can Google this. And then, you're not bound to, you could be doing online surveys for a company in London, or a company in Toronto, Canada, or a company in LA, California, the United States. There's no limit as to where you can register and survey people. We now move on to the next one. You have all heard about YouTube. Yes, they're owned by Google. Yes, it's the largest video platform in the world, but there are so many ways you can monetize yourself on YouTube. Right now, you're watching me on YouTube. So I make videos. I use expensive camera equipment. Sometimes when I create a whole production, you make the video, you start your channel, usually by forming a Gmail. And then depending on your area of expertise, you might be good at building off-road cars. You might be good at DJing. You might be good at the rideshare business like I am, giving advice through YouTube. You can build a phenomenal channel on YouTube. You can offer YouTube services, YouTube marketing services. You can also monetize your channel, meaning other corporate companies serve their ads through your channel based on the topics that you talk about. When I'm talking about the rideshare business or giving recommendations, car companies, app companies, or insurance companies are running their ads through my channel, I get paid for it. So if this is something that excites you, if this is a field that you feel that you could build out, I just did a great video on the San Diego Rideshare Pro, Thomas Gibson, helping him launch his YouTube channel. There's a specific way you go about it. There's a specific way you brand yourself. You've got to be a fairly cheerful, talkative person, and can talk off the cuff in front of a camera and not be shy, right? More the extroverted type of person versus the introvert is good for YouTube. But a good introvert will still make stunning YouTube editing, titles, descriptions, keyword portfolios for a client. Don't have to be in front of the camera for that. So what I'm saying is, long story short, many, many ways to monetize yourself on YouTube, services that you can offer for YouTube, and reach out if that arena excites you. I'll help you on that. Now we move on to the next one. I can personally tell you that delivering newspapers is a tough one. I remember being 11 years old and contacting the newspaper company and say, I want to deliver newspapers, because they were the only guys that would give me a job at that age. And I cycled with my bicycle, with my big bag like this dude is doing over there. And, I would have 20 newspapers on each side, 40 papers, would weigh a lot. I'd be a young little guy on a bicycle, uphill, downhill. It was tough. But it taught me so much, right? So if you're very young, if you're in your teenage years, great. This is a job for you where you can put some money aside. You hit 21 and you go into the rideshare business. You have the money. You've put it aside. I delivered newspapers for 3 or 4 years in the morning, before school, after school, saved up enough money to open my own DJ business, and then add a catering business, and then turning that into a big event marketing company. So I got all of that from starting off with newspapers. It taught me so much. Today we have motorbikes, cars, You could be a newspaper drop-off point that facilitates the pickup for multiple carriers, and you get paid a fee for that. You don't have to physically deliver. But if you want some exciting stories, reach out to me about this business. Good memories, my friend. We move on to the next one. So if you are an accountant or you have a lot of knowledge in preparing taxes, the rideshare industry, for example, I know a company here in Los Angeles called businessrocket.net, led by a good friend of mine called Alex. They do, the taxes for many, many rideshare drivers, rideshare companies, right? So if that's your area of expertise, there's a lot of people that just don't want to touch, do, or look at taxes. Those like, hey, they'll hand over everything to you, and then you plug in the numbers and file it for them. So if you have a CPA, accounting background, obviously you're already doing this, but you might find yourself a niche market like the rideshare market and prepare the taxes for drivers. We move on to the next one. With so many people having online companies and blogs today to describe their products, to sell their products, to create an experience for the visitor, these jobs of revising, editing, and proofreading are hot in demand. I mean, you could, if somebody wants to publish a book, you could proofread it, make money there. If somebody wants to publish a blog or an article, you could proofread it. You could do the editing full-time for them. You could do all the revisions for them. You can also do this for kids at school that want you to look over their schoolwork before they basically submit it, right? So start a website here, offer these services, can become a really, really good part-time gig. We move on to the next one. Super fun business, my friends. I learned this business through a very good friend of mine who does a lot of my marketing for me. And then his know-how helped me launch my son. He's 11 years old. He has his own T-shirt line, right? You need to invest anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 in a good printing machine. You can list your items, or you could look at websites such as cafepress.com as an example. The main thing is that you have a whole collection of unique designs, whether black or white or color. You have a good quality T-shirt. You have an amazing website set up. You can buy a great template for this, and you truly, truly know your internet marketing. It does help. For example, what this guy did is he reached out to a lot of independent designers that marketed their T-shirts through his website. He would collect a royalty. It also helps to get some corporate accounts where you make 100 to a few thousand T-shirts periodically for a corporate client. So check it out. Amazing videos on this. Again, you need to know what you're doing here. And I'd say at the minimum, you'd have to have about $25,000 to $3,000 investment to get it going. We move on to the next one. So my current business, or one of my businesses currently that I operate, is a limousine company. And you can definitely take this business in several directions, right? So as you may have known or found out from past videos, in this actual video, that I'll buy cars, fix them up, sell them, and very often lease them to Uber or Lyft drivers. Right behind me, that looks like a Cadillac or a Suburban over there. Then there's a Mercedes Sprinter in the back. This usually is a big investment, right? Because you're going out and buying your first 1, 2, or 3 cars, and you got to get the right driver in, right? I look for drivers with Uber and Lyft that are 4.9 rated, that have done a minimum of 1,000 trips. I draw up contracts with them. They usually lease my cars out at $550 per week. And the most important component of this business is that you have a TCP license, right? It's a transit license so that you can transport passengers in California and some other states like New Jersey called a TCN, or New York. But it's a lucrative business. It's built upon the drivers that you choose. If you have super good personalities, good, safe drivers that keep the car clean inside and out, that have good conversations with the clients, It's word of mouth. They get referred to client, to the next client, to the next client, and you build it out, right? In my rideshare training school, rideshare driving school, let me correct that, ridesharedrivingschool.com, I teach you how to start this type of business, right? I teach you how to select the right type of drivers. I teach you how to manage it. I teach you how to set it up. I teach you how to recruit the passengers, build out clients, and repeat clients. It's a great business. Add-ons, for example, what I offer sometimes is security, professional security. Very often it'll take me, you've seen many of my videos where it takes me onto the landing strip on the private airports where the people arrive or leave with jets. There's so many different parts of this business that you need to understand. This is all about platinum customer service. Knowing what the customer wants, needs, and demands, and then fulfilling those wishes, right? You'll make a lot of money and a lot of tips. If you need any help here, you can definitely reach out to me. We move on to the next one. Great website that I have used on numerous occasions is called Appwork, right? There it is. And then some of the skills that are required, some of the jobs where people are constantly looking for experts or people that understand the following fields: user experience design, ASP, experience with Shopify, English proofreading, SEO writing, animation, virtual assistant, lead generation, data mining, video editing, WordPress, big one, AngularJS, Java, accounting, Android development, iOS development, Zendesk, MongoDB, visualization, and AutoCAD, right? So you may have a few of these expertise. You can post it online. People will source you and then request that you do a specific job for them. And then you go back and forth and decide on the price, etc. But this is a super great hub where you can find people that are offering these skill sets, where you can actually post your skill sets. It's definitely a trading place that brings a lot of experts together. So I like Appwork. I've used it. You put out a bid there on a job, and people come to you. There's a lot of people all around the globe that'll try and assist you on projects, and they want to get paid. So check it out, and we now move on to the next one. So flipping cars is very different to fixing and flipping cars, right? Buying cars at the same place, public auctions or dealership auctions, the cars that are a bit run down, maybe you have some dents, bad paint job, you fix it up with a panel beater, you do some body work, you wrap it. I mean, there you're investing the time and the effort to fix it up. Flipping cars is just really about knowing how to buy cars at dealership auctions at wholesale prices, like Mannheim, for example, and then being good at reselling them using all the websites, right? On Craigslist, CarGurus, all of these different sites that you can list your car on, and then flipping them for a profit, right? You really, really need to know what you're doing here. Many of these people that buy at public or dealership auctions bring mechanics along. Okay, good. The car gets the blessing. The car is fine. You're getting it at the right price. Maybe it was a rainy day. Not many people showed up at the auction. I tell you, the auctions that I go to, sometimes there's 10, 15 people. Sometimes 100 people. Sometimes the cars sell for $500, $600, $700, $1,500. Other days they'll sell for $3,000. So, you got to know when to buy. Usually end of the month, people don't have money. If you have cash at the end of the month, you're going to get the best prices. The first week of the month, people have been paid. The prices are higher. You got to know what you're doing here. There are great books online, many videos made on this, but this is not necessarily about fixing up the car. It's just buying low, selling high. We move on to the next one. In my spare time, more as a hobby, firstly, I buy a lot of cars. I fix them up and I flip them. But the way I stand out is by wrapping my cars. I do a lot of the wrapping work myself. I have some people that also do or help me on the more sophisticated parts of it. But here I highly, highly recommend a course, a wrapping course, a 3-day course. They usually do them on weekends with 3M or Hexus. I paid, I think, $850 for the course that I did in Corona, California through Hexus. And then that also qualified me for a 40% discount on the materials, right? Materials will range anywhere from about $500 to $1,200 for a car, can go right up to $2,500 if you're doing a chrome job on a car. My friends, there's money to be made. Beyond the materials that the client buys or that you buy for the clients because you're getting a discount, right? And people are charging $1,500 to excess $5,000-$6,000 to wrap more high-end cars. The more cars you do, the better you get at it. I remember my first 2 cars didn't turn out very great, but I'm probably in 15, 20 cars down the line now. I'm pretty good at it. And if you get it down, and you could wrap a car in about a day and a half. If you're a novice in the beginning, it's going to take you several days. The money is in the detail, taking out the lights, taking out the handles, taking off the mirrors and wrapping it properly. You have to invest in a good chair, $80, a heating gun, about $40, the right type of knives, the right type of scrapers, the right type of appliers. It's not a big investment at all, right? You could do this in your garage. So honestly, you're looking at starting this business for less than $250. But the key here is invest at least $800 to $1,000 to do a good course, and maybe do the course twice, right? Sometimes I wish I'd done the course twice just to remember some of the little tricks. But there are countless good videos that you can watch to learn this. This guy is doing a car in this sort of a Hexus gold. As you can see, he's wrapped over the light, and the reason why he's going to be tucking it later, taking out the light. And a heat gun, as you can see, he's holding a heat gun there, a blue heat gun. That's the trick, my friend. That is the money. So we now move on to the next one. So I'm sure you've heard of the term fixing and flipping homes. This is not a cheap setup, my friends, because firstly, you really got to know what you're doing here, right? And you have to have a lot of contacts, from tilers, carpenters, roofers, plumbers, electricians. But the end result can be very, very lucrative, right? Buying cheap, selling high. In between, you're using a specific budget to spruce up the home, whether it's a new paint job, a new deck, renovations to the kitchen, to the bathroom. All of this increases the value as long as you're not putting too much money in. I would say in my lifetime, I'm 50 years old now, I've probably fixed and flipped about 25 homes, right? And a lot in the Big Bear, Lake Arrowhead region, San Bernardino, a couple in LA, 1 or 2 in Orange County. But I had good people, and I made those contacts over the years. But let me tell you that I had to get a couple of other businesses going before I could take a shot at this. I needed a good credit, needed good down payments on homes, and I had to be able to pay all those vendors. So this is not easy, right? However, if you're in the rideshare business, what I realized is that if you're in specific categories like the SUV or Lux categories and you're driving high-end clients and you find out people that are in this business already, you can learn from them. Or if you're coming with a lot of knowledge on fixing and flipping and you pitch it to some of your clients, you might end up doing business with them. I've done business with 1 or 2 of my clients that actually came from the Limousine services, right? So again, a tough job, quite a risk. Obviously, a lot of people saw their butt in 2008 when the market turned, and you truly, truly need to know what you're doing here. But worthwhile looking into if you have a lot of spare cash lying around. We move on to the next one. So a very cool business that you can conduct from your home is getting paid for participating in research interviews. One of the websites I recommend there is Respondent. Obviously, you can Google other companies, register with them. You know, anything to make money as a part-time hustle, as a part-time job, or you might want to do this full-time. Anything to help you fund your next business. This is a great way to accumulate money. Even if you need money to start off in the rideshare business, you can do this on the side. Now we move on to the next one. You know, I've seen several friends that wanted to travel and they combine that, you know, with their teaching skills. Let's say becoming an English teacher in a foreign country, whether you're in South America, Africa, Asia, teaching kids over there to speak English. Very, very well-paying jobs. I know one girl that went over to Japan, to Tokyo, to teach English. She, in return, came back learning Japanese, but she was teaching a lot of kids English and got paid very, very well for that. Sometimes some of the companies will hire you to teach their staff. So look into that. You can Google it. You can YouTube it. There's tons of books. How to teach in a foreign country might be something for you if you can combine it with learning about another culture, if you can combine it with traveling. Sounds exciting. We move on to the next one. So this is an area that has always fascinated me, but I guess, you know, it's got to be for you, you know, how to invest in stocks. There's a great book written, How Stocks Work, how to calculate the returns on investment. Here and there, I've bought stock, made a little money here, made a little money there. This has never really been my cup of tea, right? Made some money, but then I've lost on other stocks. So I guess you really, truly need to learn all the ins and outs, watch videos, read a lot of books, maybe have a financial or banking background or an accounting background to be good at this. But people make a lot of money. People have become millionaires by buying the right stocks and selling at the right time. So if this is you, check it out. We move on to the next one. So Amazon has an interesting model, and they call it Mechanical Turk. I would suggest just visiting that website and seeing what tasks they offer that can be performed. You might find out that you could do two or three of these tasks and work from home and earn yourself money. You know, these could be little tasks of just, you know, doing some editing for someone or doing some graphic design, whatever the case may be. But check it out. It's a great hub where they facilitate a lot of jobs. And we now move on to the next one. Market research. What is that all about? Usually you'll find these type of companies in the larger metropolitan cities, New York, LA, Chicago, Miami. And these are companies that are hired by big corporate companies, and they will invite you in from 1 hour to several hours and ask a lot of questions. And you usually be in a group of about 2 to 15, 20 people, and you walk out after 2 hours, let's say, making $150 or $250. Definitely a good per hour wage by just offering your input. They want to see how minds think. They want to interview you. So the key here, ladies and gentlemen, is to register with as many market research companies in your city. I've done a few of them. My kids have made money doing market research. I have 2 kids, a 15 and an 11-year-old. So when you offer the information, yes, I'm a father, I have children, this is my job, this is my age. They look at specific demographics. And they have specific requirements on certain projects, whether they want you to offer your feedback on a movie, on a product, on an Xbox, whatever the case may be. They will conduct these market research groups and call you in if your criteria fits their client's needs. So the key here is to Google and research them, call them up and say, hey, I'd like to join your market research company. Email me or reach out to me if you have a project. Okay. They usually take place in the evenings after work because they have to fill a room. Usually these things happen like 7 till 9 p.m. or on weekends, right? And they're for adults and for kids, and you can earn yourself a good hourly wage. We move on to the next one. If you have writing skills, you're a great writer, you enjoy the English language, whatever language you speak, or multiple languages, you definitely need to look at how to publish ebooks. Firstly, there's a lot of good literature and videos out there, a lot of good books on Amazon on how to do it. But I see even many people in the rideshare business, for example, Harry, who sells a lot of these ebooks. They can be sold, and people will read them on their Kindle versus buying paperback. People prefer this route, but it's definitely a very lucrative business if you are a good writer and you understand the ins and outs. It also could be that you represent a lot of writers and then publish the ebooks for them and take royalties. So there's many ways to approach this. We now move on to the next one. There are several websites where you can register your writing skills, where you act as a ghostwriter for somebody that needs to publish something. One of the websites is called Reedsy, Reedsy. Again, this is for people that have a specific skill set of fantastic writers. I cannot necessarily say I'm a great writer. I could definitely come up with good content. I'm definitely good marketing-wise. I enjoy more the visual presentation. I can speak and articulate well, but I'm not a great writer. This is a skill set that a few people have. If you have it, I suggest you register as a ghostwriter, especially if it's your passion. If you really enjoy writing, try it out at Reedsy. We move on to the next one. So there are several people that have, full-time jobs, and if they're looking for part-time jobs, maybe on the weekends or so, you can always run errands for people. Maybe you go out to the groceries, or you've got to get all the laundry done or pick up the kids from school, whatever the case may be. Those hours add up, and it's good to have several clients. And there's good websites and books on this. I would recommend the freeworkathome.com. It'll show you several ways how to monetize this business. Again, I think it's more a part-time gig type of a job. I'm reporting on the rideshare business, Uber and Lyft, also great part-time jobs. And we're also exploring all the other sort of side hustles, side jobs where you can make additional money. So we move on to the next one. So this is a real easy one, right? Every one of you has stuff lying around. Could be clothing, shoes, electronics, bikes, whatever it is. You can literally turn that into cash. Whether you list it on your local Craigslist, whether you list it on eBay, you have to invest the time to photograph these items, price them correctly that they move, set up the accounts, manage them, maybe even renew the ads. But you can actually liquidate a lot of stuff and turn it into cash, especially let's say you're in the rideshare business and you don't have a car and you need to rent a car, and they're asking for that first $250 deposit so that you can start, but you just don't have that $250. I've seen that in many, many scenarios. Just look around you and see what you can turn into cash. There's a lot of ebooks on this. There's a lot of great books on Amazon, how to approach this. But the main thing is that you study on Google where to move your stuff, right? Where to list them and how to price them, how to photograph them, how to create the ads, the descriptions, the titles, the keywords, upload the images, etc. It's not rocket science, folks. This is definitely sort of a once-off thing where you photograph everything that needs to be sold, but you can also take it a step further, and we move on to the next one. So this is where the fun begins. Now that you've learned how to, photograph the items, upload them, now that you know where to sell them, and you've actually sold several products and made money, now you can really turn this into a business and maybe drop off business cards in the neighborhood and let people know, this is your social media website, this is your website, this is your business card. I will come around and turn your stuff, your junk into cash, right? There might be some Adidas or Gucci shoes lying around, or some black little dresses, or books, or CDs, or electronic equipment, or furniture that can be listed on your local Craigslist or eBay so that you can start moving the items for others. The main thing is that you document these items so there's never a discrepancy, a fight over what they gave you, what's sold. So there's great software where you can run your inventory, see what's in the inventory, what has been sold, calculate out, what you owe these individuals, less, let's say, the 20 to 30% that you take as a commission for moving these products and doing the work. You have to be paid at the end of the day, right? So this is a great way how to actually turn this into a business. I have a few friends that do this, mainly in the clothing business, and make really, really good money. But as I already explained, step one is you got to go out there and test the waters for yourself and then take it a couple of steps further. Thank you. Now we move on to the next one. So there are certain blood types or plasma types that are hot in demand because not everybody has them or carries them. And, you could read this book on how much you can really make. I love the title, Everything You Need to Know Before You're Getting Poked, right before you get the injection in your arm, before they take your plasma. But there's money to be made in it. And the people reselling plasma, I know a doctor in Hidden Hills, damn, do they make a lot of money, right? But again, reach out to the companies that do purchase your plasma and see which ones they demand, right? Good money to be made if you supply it once a month or once every 2 weeks. Look into it. We move on to the next one. A totally different one, but there's a lot of money to be made. Sometimes $20,000, $30,000 if it's successful when people sell their sperm, right? So as you can see from the graphic, there's cash for this human sperm, and you basically can list your details. They have a huge database, and they ask a ton of questions because people that are looking to purchase sperm so that they can get pregnant will put in a ton of variables, color of eyes, height, you name it. So check that out if this is something for you. But I've seen people make $20,000 to $30,000 more, up to $50,000 by selling their sperm to the right buyer. We move on to the next one. I think a great job where you really help children these days, and obviously sports, I think, are one of the most important things for kids to join teams, play sports. Obviously the concentration is on academics, but there's a lot of kids out there joining little soccer clubs, baseball clubs. And if you have a good skill set, if you were a great soccer player or a rugby player, or you enjoyed athletics, why not take your knowledge and monetize it? So I have great admiration for, teenagers or people in their 20s or even older that go out there that either volunteer and do the work for kids or monetize it. I have a good friend, Andrew Carmen in Santa Monica. He does these soccer clinics in summer, makes big money, man. He has sometimes 100 kids playing on the beach and they do a camp, and these kids join for a few $100s each. You'll make himself $20,000, $30,000 over the summer. So you can't say there's no money in coaching. There's a lot of money in coaching, especially if you're doing it full-time, backed with a website. You have venues or basketball courts, indoor, outdoor, where you can facilitate these training camps, these training sessions, these one-on-one. There's a lot of money in private coaching or group team coaching. So look into that if you have a specific skill set. I myself have often volunteered on the soccer side. I did training for Malibu High School and a couple of little kids' school teams in the Valley, teaching them soccer skills as well as teaching my kids soccer skills, right? So you can approach it from two sides. If you have the time, volunteer it. If you want to make some money part-time, great job. We move on to the next one. Starting a house cleaning service is not the most difficult thing to do, right? Running a couple of Craigslist ads, really taking care of your staff, starting with a small crew, having a website, your business cards, marketing into neighborhoods. You build your business based on your reputation, based on your staff, based on your referrals, right? So Good staff are key here, and you keep on incentivizing to keep them, right? Really make it profitable for them. If you want to clean yourself, that's up to you. I never wanted to do that. Have I cleaned toilets and kitchens? Yes. In hotels and restaurants, I've done it all. But would I want to make that my main profession? No. But would I know how to start up a crew of cleaners? Absolutely yes, right? You got to just apply those basics. So check out some videos on how to do this. The main thing is that you recruit good people, hard workers, that give you a good reputation, and then it grows by itself. We move on to the next one. You know, there are a lot of people that are starting little businesses on Etsy. There's some good books written. There's some great YouTube videos on how to start your own Etsy shop, right? If you're producing a certain little item from your home, you know, check out for this video where it says opening an Etsy shop, what you really need to know. I read the article, and I can see, you know, why many moms and pops that have time, especially people that are retired, open these Etsy shops and have a nice constant income. Check it out. We now move on to the next one. So underneath this video, what I call the 69+1 ways, at the end I include a video. The link is beneath this video to show you how to raise money, right? Which is how to write a business plan. That alone becomes a great source of revenue if you are writing plans for other people that are trying to raise funds and you charge them. Or if you do it like I do, I take a percentage of the monies that I raise for them. This is a pretty cool business that I've looked into. I never went into it, but it didn't seem very, very complicated. And you get a lot of feedback from the people who operate these, because you get to ask them, hey, I need you to maybe come out and wash my car. How do you do it? What type of equipment? They give you all the information, so just take notes, right? So these guys here, nice branding on a little smart car. They call themselves the waterless mobile car wash. Or you might have seen vans. You can pick those vans up cheap at the auctions, and then brand them, right, with a website, your services, your phone number, your social media, everything on the car. But generally speaking, you'd want to go to business parks, businesses, put out your business cards, and let the people know that you have a mobile car wash and that you might come, like, let's say every Friday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. Right? If people want to come in there and get their car washed, they just have to call you, schedule it, you drive out, wash it, and then get paid either by the company or by the individual. So cool way of making money. Not major investment capital needed, especially if you're just operating one vehicle. Obviously, if you want to blow this out maybe into a franchise or operate multiple cars, you may find yourself writing a business plan down the line based on this first car that you've been operating for 6 or 12 months, that first van that goes out and does the work. What income did you generate? How much market share did you get? What type of marketing ideas did you apply that worked, right? So once you have a track record, it's easy to raise money. We move on to the next one. So it looks like you can even make money with trash these days. I have a friend who opened up a plastic recycling company in an industrial area. This is something you can't do from your residence, otherwise you'll get too many neighbor complaints. But, you know, maybe your dad, maybe your mom has a business in a business district area. Start yourself a little recycling plant, right? Pay people to bring you plastic, weigh it, and then resell the plastic, right? Lots of business in that field. Lots of money in that field. It's the same as the steel business. People constantly bringing in steel, they weigh it up, they get paid, and then those companies sell the steel to larger brokers. So look into it. It's definitely an exciting model. There'll always be trash, right? And there'll always be plastic. So put two and two together, equates to money. We move on to the next one. My friends, the vending business, it's a tough one, but man, is there money to be made. I remember after the army, this was one of the first businesses that I started. And then I was in South Africa purchasing vending machine after vending machine. I mean, I'm talking jukeboxes, pool tables, drink dispensers, food dispensers. I was buying it all. I used to fly from Johannesburg, South Africa to Las Vegas, go on these big shows. Some of the biggest vending machine makers were outside of Vegas, and I would just ship them over at the height. And when I became a millionaire at a very young age of, I'd say I was about 22 years old, I even had, a total of about 4,000 machines, but I had many, many slot machines, which are basically also vending machines, but there were no casino laws at the time. So you can't do that in the United States. There are very few countries where you can just operate slot machines. But in all these little mini casinos that I had vending machines, and I made so much cash. It's a tough business, my friends. Servicing the machines, emptying the machines, replenishing the machines. But it's a moneymaker. You don't have to be there. You just have to follow up, collect. Not for everyone, but if your type of personality and you don't mind grinding it and working hard, this is a great business. We move on to the next one. I've heard of several people making good money with podcasts. You obviously have to get a big following. You obviously have to get a lot of people to subscribe to your podcast, ladies and gentlemen. So look into that. There's some really good books on Amazon about this, how to start your own podcast. There's also a lot of good videos on YouTube, how to start your own podcast. So if this is something for you, great. Look into it. And we now move on to the next opportunity. So are you a teacher? And also then have you looked into the possibility of maybe teaching your skills, your real life skills, 2 kids, 2 adults? For example, here are a few: resume writing, job interviewing, internet skills, leadership skills, computer skills, how to manage your finances, etc. All of these things you can monetize, right? Online, give online classes, right? You could create video courses on Teachable on this. Malcolm X said, education is our passport to the future for tomorrow. Belongs to the people who prepare for it today, right? So huge demand for people that are eager to grow, to learn. I love that saying, if you're not learning, you're not growing. But take your skills and monetize them online. I did that with ridesharedrivingschool.com. I took all my skills that I acquired in the rideshare business with Uber and Lyft, and then I created an online course, right, for rideshare drivers called ridesharedrivingschool.com. By the way, if you're watching this, here's a code for you: R, capital D, capital S, RDS30. RDS30. Take that code, ridesharedrivingschool.com. Check it out. That's an online course. You could do the same. Now we move on to the next one. What is he preaching here? Listen, folks, if you're not taking advantage of this movement, right, it doesn't mean that you're a drug lord or a drug dealer, but in several states, medical marijuana for medical uses is allowed. One of my biggest clients is one of the biggest growers in California and has made millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in this industry, right? He manufactures CBD oils, supplies thousands and thousands of outlets with the product, and he's a grower as well. So here I would just say, get the general guide, buy the books. I have looked into it. I just wanted to see what the business was, what the investment was. But, the legalities around this, I mean, yes, they're in place. It's legal, in California and Colorado, etc. But these laws chop and change. You never know how long you're going to be around. I guess I would say it's a high-risk environment with a very, very high return, right? So if you want to look at getting growing lights, these growers, if you want to read up and find how to create these different strands of medical marijuana, maybe it's something for you. If not, stay away from it, right? But so investment, high risk, high returns. We move on to the next one. So transcription services, translation services are hot in demand, especially if you speak a few languages. There's a lot of companies that need their content translated into multiple languages because they want to sell their products in various countries. So, create a website. You have to draw attention to your website, to your services. Maybe making videos in those various languages, whether it's Spanish, French, German, Japanese, Chinese, whatever it is, and tell companies what you can do for them and what you charge. Now we move on to the next one. If you have spare time here and there, a cool website to register with is taskrabbit.com, and people post their projects or their errands. Now, it could be, hey, pick up food, or pick up, a whole bunch of dresses and drive them to this particular home, or they don't have a truck, you have a truck, and you help them move a piece of furniture. People post the most bizarre errands on there, but there's money to be made, right? So check it out. It's a fun website just to see what's going on and where you can make money. And a lot of these jobs are easy. It's easy money, easy to do. A good spare time, part-time job if you have some extra time on your hands. We'll move on to the next one. Movie editing, video editing, hot in demand, right? If you have these skills, you could create your own website, your own social media, make several videos that you can upload to YouTube advertising your services. But there are a lot of companies out there that are looking for great editors. This is a full-time or part-time job, right? Could be for the movie industry, could be for doing commercials, could be for doing short little videos for YouTube. So many ways to monetize this job. So check it out. Google video editing, movie editing. Many websites where you can list your services or find jobs. We move on to the next one. So writing resumes, if you have the skill set, kids that are about to go into university or college, or, they need a sort of a school resume that they need to present to the university. If you're coming out of the university, out of the college, you finished your degree, you're applying for jobs, again, you'll need a resume. And again, this requires a specific skill set. Got to be a really good writer and really bring out the very best in that individual, right? I also know of a person that helps package up kids before they go into college so that they get scholarships. She gets them ready for that next step. She charges up to $3,000-$4,000 per pupil, right? But then she definitely helps the parents get the kids into the right colleges. So she writes the resumes up, she writes to these different colleges and universities, introduces the child to them. So that's something for you. Check into it. And we now move on to the next one. Anyone that's launching a company or new product or periodically wants to update their clients on new happenings within the company usually releases a PR, a press release. One of the best companies I've used over the years, PR Web. They have different ways or different price categories of bringing that news across to blogs, to Google News, to Yahoo News is PR Web. Another one I really like using is PR Buzz. But the job here, folks, is if you are a good writer and you maybe get involved, with the marketing arm or the blogging arm of companies and help them do their press releases, right? It's a job that's always there. I can't even count how many press releases I have done since I started doing business. They help, they work, and the best ones have great distribution channels. So look into that if this may be something for you. By the way, whatever business you start out of these 69 different possibilities that I'm sharing with you, the link again is underneath the video, you will also want to write a good press releases or multiple press releases and look into the websites that actually distribute your message. So PR Web, PR Buzz are the ones that I use. and now I move on to the next one. So AngelList is a fantastic website where you can go and pitch and raise money for your business. We've walked through 69 different ways, side hustles, part-time jobs, full-time jobs that you can go out if they appeal to you. I've gone over all of those in the video link below. And when it comes to raising money, turning to angel investors, these are wealthy private individuals or venture capitalist banks, to fund your business, this is a great website to go to. It's also a job. Writing business plans, my friend. Again, I'll put another link underneath this video to write a business plan with a software such as the best one in the industry by Palo Alto Software. It's called Business Plan Pro Premier. That's the one I use. Walks you through all the steps to write your business plan. And that could be from 20 pages right up to 80, 100 pages, right? Where you're actually going out to raise capital from these angels, from private individuals, because you might not be fully financed yourself. You might have 10, 20% together and you need another 80% of capital, right? So writing business plans is an art. I've done several. You get paid very well for it, where you make even more money, as I figured down the line, when people are going for big amounts of money. And if you can help secure them this money, right, by writing the business plan and then posting it on the specific websites, GoFundMe, AngelList, etc., and help them bring the investors, you have an agreement with them that you get a percentage of the capital, right? Let's just say you are helping a person raise $1 million and you're asking 5%, right? It's $50,000 right there that you earned by writing the business plan, bringing it across to the investors with the right websites, the right social media, right? And you've packaged them up and now you secure the money. At that point, you get paid, just as a real estate agent or broker would get paid if the house closes escrow. They'll also earn that 5-6% on that $1 million. It's a lot of money, right? So don't be shy here. If you have the skill set, if you're good at writing business plans, charging a person $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 might not be the way to go if you are raising $3 or $4 million for them or $500,000 for them, right? Take care of yourself. I would not touch anything here under $10,000, $15,000, writing business plans and securing funding for an individual. Or you write the business plan and then you have a clause in there. If you also secure the money, you get paid a certain percentage on top of your writing fees, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. We looked at 69 plus 1 different ways to monetize yourself. The plus 1 was actually how to write the business plan. The link to that is below this video. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. I was interested in making this video because I represent a lot of rideshare drivers, Uber and Lyft drivers worldwide, who constantly ask me, hey, what are other ways to make money? And that sort of led me to make this video called 69 plus 1, right? The plus 1, again, is, hey, I don't have the money to start up that company, but I think I'd be very, very good at that. And what do I do now to go out there and secure this funding? Oh, let me follow his guidance on writing a business plan. Let me buy that software. Let me attempt writing it. Maybe I bring in experts here and there to pad my written piece, right? My business plan that I then present to angel investors. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. My name is Torsten Kunert. All my details are below. If you're thinking of joining with Uber and Lyft, again, my codes are below. And have yourself a fantastic day. Thank you.